welcome back to the channel. My name is Sam and welcome. Just came from Taylor's dad's grandpa's place. They just sold the house and they had to clean it out, and well, check her out. I came up on a bad old Craftsman rototiller. They didn't have a space for it, so I said I'd bring it here. Got a couple knickknacks, little things. Got some stuff that I'm actually gonna use today if I can get around to it. We got some scrap steel. We're gonna make our own delete plates for a 12 valve. And I know people, what the hell's a 12 valve got an EGR on it? Well, let's step inside the shop and we'll go over the list of stuff I want to knock out for today. Got two trucks in here right now. Got my 98 12 valve and my buddy's 97 12 valve. We did the 5-speed swap on this. If you guys are just now joining, I'd like to keep people in the loop if they're fresh to the channel. But the steering wheel was getting tight. My buddy did a dump run this morning. Ended up winding up a bunch of the steering column stuff for the, I don't know how it works, for the horn. He couldn't even steer, so he just cranked it and a bunch of copper wire came popping out the side. So we're trying to get the wheel off so we can get that freed up, because it's still kind of grinding a little bit and it's kind of dangerous. Never had that happen before, but it happened. And my holy grail, my dream truck. I've always wanted a 98 12 valve. And we got one with the red pattern. Oh man, I like this truck a lot. It does have an automatic, so holy grail is still a 12 valve with a suicide 4-door package, in my opinion. But the automatic, we're having a little issue with it. I'll show you what's going on. I've wanted to, since I bought this truck, pop open the pan on the tranny and see if there's anything built underneath here, anything aftermarket. And so far it is complete bone stock rebuild. Even the torque converter is a complete stock one. And I got all the new electronic goodies for underneath this truck here. Where's the culprit? This is the actual one right here. I actually ordered 2 of these because I ordered just the solo one and then I found this kit. So yeah, the pressure regulator, and then I got electrical harness, new filter, springs and all the mess, and I'm fairly confident it's completely stock transmission. So come on, get out of there. We got another sensor. But I'm not going to put that stock pan in, no way in hell. So I got a B&M. These are pretty cheap for an aftermarket pan, 180 bucks. But you get the drain plug and you get a spot for a transmission temp sensor probe. So we're gonna install those, and what we're really excited about, I mean, it's nice to have transmission working properly. It kind of wanting to take off in higher gear with that regulator being goofy. We got a fresh MBRP exhaust because this truck does have a catalytic converter on it. And I think it's actually gumming up because the fuel has been turned up just a little bit on this. It's pretty quick, doesn't roll a lot of coal, and it feels like it's getting congested. Yeah, so we're gonna delete that and also delete the EGR. I'll show you guys that real quick. EGR on this sucker, that steel that's out in the back of the truck will work perfect. I'll take this thing off, cut out, trace it, and I'll make some cutout or block off plates for this thing and get rid of this piece of crap, because where we're going, we don't need it until I win the lottery or get sponsored by banks or some crap. This is what we're gonna ride with for now, and for the sake of the transmission, I'm not going to turn it up very much. But I do have a backup transmission laying outside, which is another bone stock one, so that's completely pointless to install. But first thing we got to do is we got to start popping some sensors off the transmission down there, and I want to get the transmission wrapped up before I really get anything else. All right, after some struggle bus later, it probably would have been easier, since the transmission had so much dirt on it, it would have been easier just to pull it out, pull tranny and clean it off. But valve body is out, so we're going to start taking it apart just a little bit so we can swap out some of these sensors and regulators. Bada bing. That right there is apparently the trouble one. This one right here might actually be, see, we're getting a code for the pressure regulator solenoid thing. I say thing, we're technical. I do have an education in diesel mechanics, but that just gets you far enough along to get yourself in trouble. But I did watch a video Muldoon posted the other day. Come on, you little devil, get out of there. We got the Makita, buzz these out. Bada bing, bada bing. Oh, what Muldoon was saying, if you guys don't know who Muldoon is, Google him. He makes these transmissions, and if I were to order one, I would get it from him. But he was saying that these guys right here, see how that one's got a little tiny hole? Tiny hole. Just got a little hole. Open up my new one. Might not be the case. I don't know. I hadn't opened this package. I was just judging by the photo on line. Now, he's saying some of these, they got a bigger hole. I might be wrong. I just might be talking. But they say a different style, it can't vent good enough. And yeah, I don't even know if that makes sense, but that's what he said. But if those aren't working properly, you're going to take off in a higher gear. So we're going to swap that out. This one is all kaput. Looks like it has a doodad on there. Didn't give me a new doodad. Oh yeah, it's already on there. Oh, look at that. New dad. New doodad. Fuck out. The aftermarket Borg Warner one, and this is the stock one. See the size difference? Little sissy, big Larry. Okay, so just like that, we got everything installed. These are upgraded stuff, upgraded Borg Warner pressure solenoid, as well as pressure sensor, and lockup and overdrive circuit right there. New wiring harness for the works, nothing too extreme. It's a pretty nice little kit. It even came with some more stuff, output speed sensor, lockup spring, all the good stuff there. And I don't even know what the hell that, oh crap, we're leaking parts. Next thing, we got to put the valve body back in there. I got to put the parking paw back in. Well, sometimes, I don't know. It would have been easier to pull the whole transmission out, to be honest with you. Maybe it would have, I don't know. But I got to put the parking paw back on there and this little clip. It's difficult to do, so I will leave these off till last. And I have a new one. This one came with the pan. This one came with the kit. I was kind of leaning towards this one. Well, I may have discovered something inside the transmission, and that compelled me to come up here to Dad's. I had a built 47RE out of Tyler's truck, and well, it started slipping in his truck. I came up here because there's some parts in here that I'm hoping are billet or at least usable. There's one part in my transmission on the 98 that's not going to work. Not to my standards anyway. It might be something that could work, but yeah, so I came up here, grabbed this bird. It's been sitting for a minute. There's a torque converter too, came with it, and yeah, it was slipping, so she's no good. She needs rebuilt. I might do that, and I have that'll be 3 47s that I have lying around, so we can rebuild them, maybe sell those and make rent. Okay, this is something I've been curious about for a while now. This transmission, I have actually bought it from the owner of the truck. He said it was supposed to have been built. Let's find out how far along built that means, because we need a part out of that, or we got to order one. So you just got to take a couple things off, pop her apart, and bada bing, we should be in the running right here. Literally took me like 3 minutes to do everything that if that was in the truck with fluid in there, it took me 45 minutes or something. Just got to pop the pan off, pop the filter off, and then take the valve body and pop it back. And what I was really hoping for is these servos. I was hoping they were the billet ones. It doesn't seem to be the case here, and by golly, a pretty easy tell if this transmission's been aimed at, you know, somewhat built, is the servos. You know, it's a pretty good upgrade to have instead of this is the stock style one, and on the 98 in there, it was wiggling around loose. This one's got O-rings for it instead of the stock kind of piece of crap that's in there. But I wanted to find out, and if it had the billet red ones, they're normally red, if it had those in it, I was going to steal it. But judging by the second gear band right there, it's the fact that it is solid, it doesn't have any ribs in it, is saying some good stuff in the area of somebody tried to do a good job with this. But you can never see. You'd have to pop open some of those clutch packs to see what they're running. If they're the red clutches, that means they're somewhat heavy duty. But that transmission got ran a little low on oil, and it's turned up as that 12 valve Tyler's in here is. Yeah, it didn't last very long. So for the sake of my red truck that's in here right now, it's like 120 bucks, 100 and something bucks, and I can get some of those new billet servos. But I want this bird back going, and it's not really our biggest issue right now. Where did I put that piece of junk? I don't even know. But we'll crawl under here and I'll show you guys. Oh, it's just so much more difficult upside down. And see, this one's fits tight. I can't even push it in there. Well, check this out. There's that junk one right there. Let's hold on to this thing. See, this one's got some kind of weird little goofball things. I could just put O-rings on this. See, look at that. They're split so you can put them on there. But, oh, Jesus. You guys get what I'm saying right there. That's no good. Because when I pulled that off, normally they stay in there. And again, I'm just here to assess the electrical stuff, because everything else mechanically feels good. And there's just two things you gotta check. Adjust your bands, your back one and your second here. But you know, that looks sloppy, but that's actually not bad. So we'll get that taken care of. I'll put this other servo in there and we'll put it back together. All right, guys, obviously the night changed a little bit for me. Some stuff happened, so I just said screw it, went up to the house, got a haircut from Taylor, got a shower. I think she does, yeah, she's done my haircut a couple of times. She's getting pretty good at it. She's not a hairstylist by any means, but we're not talking about hair anymore. Let's go ahead and talk about the truck. We had a bit of a damn it moment. This transmission, I have no idea when it was rebuilt, if it was rebuilt or anything about it, but I had some electrical issues, so I replaced the pressure regulator, all the stuff I told you about earlier. I have the valve body back on, the filter back on, just shy of ready to throw the new pan on there. And I grabbed the old pan out, and mind you, I did look at this earlier, but this little sucker was kind of hiding on me. But your stock pan has a big old magnet right there on the side, And there's a little bit of junk on it. That happens, some sludge. But I didn't see this son of a gun sticking out the side of it. That is a clutch pack retainer ring, a snap ring, if you will. And if I had to put money on it, I would say that that is for the overdrive clutch pack. And I've seen that happen before. I had a parts truck. Somebody ran into a telephone pole. And I harvested the engine, transmission, differential, pretty much doors and everything off that truck. Actually, the engine is in Tyler's truck right here. We had a problem with that. I think I might have shared that story before. But nevertheless, I pulled the transmission out to put it in a truck that I was flipping, and I pulled the pan just to see what the heck. I didn't expect to see anything. And the ring was in there. It was about half the ring, which that one's only about a quarter of it. So I took the whole transmission apart and rebuilt it and put it in the truck. Worked perfect. Sold the truck on to its happy way. As far as I know, the owner didn't break it. I think so. Good to go on that. That was my first time ever rebuilding an automatic transmission. So my plans with this truck is, obviously, I put in a servo out of Tyler's old transmission. I could just put O-rings on the one that came out of this truck. Not a big deal. I want a good transmission in this truck. I did not expect to need one so soon, but if I'm going to pull the transmission, we're going to have to do some fun stuff to it in order to trust it. My idea was to eventually do a stick shift swap in this, but I'm kind of getting burnt out on the idea of 2 stick shift 12 valve swaps. It'd be badass to put a G56 in this, but it's not really in the cards right now. So I was talking to my buddy Tony. I mentioned him a lot because he's got quite a bit of experience in the field, diesel mechanic stuff. Like, you know, the field is a lot better than a classroom. The field is the best classroom you can imagine. But he has a fire punk transmission for his 24 valve second gen. I believe he had the stock input shaft on it. He snapped that. He had them go through the transmission again. Cost quite a few bucks, but he's got the billet input shaft and all that stuff. So I was looking fire punk just because fire punk seems badass. I really like what they're doing, but their transmissions are really expensive. So there's another guy I've always wanted to get a transmission through. I was going to get one for my Mega Cab back when I had it, but I ended up just redoing that transmission myself as well. But the guy, man, I've been following him before I could even think about any of the other YouTuber diesel guys, tractor guys, anything. I think before YouTube even really started to kind of kill it for video channels like mine. That cat, he's old John Muldoon. That guy is freaking cool. Everything he does, clean cut, rock and roll, and his prices just on his website are very reasonable for what transmission you get. So I don't think we're going to do the stick shift swap. I'm just going to go ahead and call Muldoon's probably in the next couple days. But in the meantime, this thing has been running and driving no problem with the transmission, just that code. But honestly, it wasn't affecting the drivability of it. So I'm going to throw the new pan on there and run this thing just enough so I can get it out of the shop. And if I need to take it up to town, honestly, if I hadn't have pulled any of this apart, I would have never known about that retaining ring. And it might have gone 100,000 miles on me. But in the case that this retaining ring falls out, I'll probably just lose that gear, in which case it's probably going to be overdrive. I don't think it has the potential to destroy anything. I wouldn't imagine. But I have 4 of these transmissions laying around. I don't want to sound like, oh, let's just go break some stuff. But this is the cards we've been dealt, and I'm not too worried about that snap ring or that retaining ring completely failing on me. But we'll save up a couple more YouTube checks. That's my play money. I really appreciate you guys watching these videos and making this kind of stuff happen. Not the failure happen, but the idea that I can just go get a Muldoon's trans. That's because of you guys. And I really appreciate you guys for that. And it's not about money here. It's about working your ass off and going to go spend the money that you've earned, that you work so hard to earn. And my goal in life basically is to work a lot and make as much money as I can and spend the money and have fun doing that and have fun making the money. So when I spend money on here, some stuff I don't mind. I don't mind it at all. The transmission, it's a little bit sooner than expected, but it hurts to have to spend that money so soon, but it's something that I'm going to enjoy, and it's going to bring content to you guys. And I've been looking forward to having a Muldoon's transmission for a long time. So I think it's working out good for right now to make that happen. So just another snag in the road, guys. Another snag. Oh well, stuff happens. We just live learn, play, work, play, whatever. That's a different channel. But let's end it here, guys. I didn't get anything done today that I wanted to, really. We just learned some stuff fell apart, and we didn't want it to. My poor exhaust is still laying there. And yeah, we got another tradie out in the driveway. We're going to end it there, guys. Hit that button for me, the thumbs up button. Let YouTube know that we're trying to do our best to make some quality content. Maybe it's enjoyable for you chaps to watch. And then subscribe to the channel. We're getting close to the 25,000 subscriber mark. And the 450-piece toolkit's still sitting here, guys. Brand newski. The one that I pretty much tore this transmission all apart with. Tools out of this. Go back and watch that video of me picking up this truck. Drop a comment in it. Subscribe to the channel. And when I hit that 25K mark, I will pick a random winner and I will ship you a free toolbox. But until then, guys, thank you guys so much for watching. I really appreciate it. Later.